Carol, Angels Sewing and Quilting, and we are back with our weekly, maybe we can call it a weekly series, right? It'll be a weekly series. And our first guest in our new weekly series, I know there's a few of you that are waiting for this. So it is in just a minute or two, we're going to be talking with Pamela from Pamela's Patterns. And all I can tell you is Alice, who is our garment teacher, and garments right now in the sewing world, as I know, I'm sure that a lot of you know, has been so popular. And it's not anything different at Angels, because anytime that she puts up a garment class, they get sold out. I mean, she's done the perfect tee. I think she's taught it 3 times. And she's like, Carol, like, come on, like, I've done it 3 times and the classes are packed every single time. So without any further ado, I am going to invite, she's been, and guys, let's maybe someone can just type in, make sure you tell me you can hear us and see us and all that. I hope that everything is going good, and let's cross our fingers that it stays like that when we get Pamela on. Okay. So can you talk? So I'm hoping I can hear you.
I know. I'm hoping now you can.
I can't hear you.
No.
Oh, darn. See, Ellen, I know you're on. Can you hear me? Can you, Pamela, just look on, are you on your computer?
Yes.
Can you just, do you have like a volume somewhere that you can, okay, so Ellen, you can hear me. Ellen, can you hear, Pamela at all? Maybe Pamela try and say something.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, you can hear her.
Oh, okay.
How come I can't? So that's me. Oh dear. Don't even.
I'm just relieved it's not me.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding. This is not cool. They can hear us both, but I can't hear Pamela. What the heck would it be? Pamela, I'm telling you, this happens. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. You're going to be thinking, what kind of a live is this? Does anybody have any suggestions for me? Settings. Oh, wait a minute. Audio. Hold on. Oh, maybe it, hold on. Oh my gosh, I am like so bummed. This is not funny. Okay, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. I'm gonna put this back though to.
Does anybody think that if she logged in on her phone that she might be able to hear it from there?
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. You know what? They can hear you. So I can't hear you. I'm going to try to read your lips, but I'm going to ask you questions anyway.
Okay.
So this is just, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. You should see me.
I know the feeling for sure. This has happened to me before. Similar.
Are you
So
saying you never did this before?
I've not done Facebook Live before.
Okay, good. No. Okay, so okay, all of you guys, and Linda that's on here, Ellen, there's another Linda on here. I know Linda Haynes that's listening, Pamela. She takes all of Alice's garment classes. And I just think it's like the coolest thing when she comes in and she has her, her clothes on, and it's just so cool. So can you just I can't believe I can't hear you. Can you just tell I have like a whole bunch of questions. When did you start making patterns? Like how long have you been doing this? And give us a little backstory, and because I can't hear what you're saying. So
Maybe you can record it so you can hear it. I'm not sure, but um, so I was in the sewing machine industry, working as a manager of a very big, well, not very big, but a very popular sewing machine center in Manchester, Connecticut. And I pretty much built up the entire educational program and had been doing that since 1981. And so I was always teaching garment sewing, but I taught a little bit of everything, and we had lots of different machines and so forth. Um, I got hired to teach at the Genome convention, and they wanted me to teach a t-shirt. Now, I taught t-shirt all the time, but it took me 2 days to do a t-shirt class because the first day would all be fitting, and then the second day they could actually do the sewing, because it was very important to me that they get a good fit on everything that they do. So I knew I couldn't do that all in one day, and I just had one day to teach it. And I thought, I'll just come up with a pattern for everybody that I know will fit them better, that has the fit aspects in it that I would like to see in a pattern right off the bat. Having no idea how to draft a pattern, how to market a pattern, how to do any of that, I kind of got in over my head, and that's what started it all. So I started with 3 patterns, and at the time I was writing a lot for Threads magazine on sergers, and my editor, one time when I was writing a serger article, asked me, well, what are you doing? What's new? What's hot? And I said, well, I have these 3 patterns, and really excited because I'm having very good luck with them in classes. People are loving them. They're fitting really well. And I've sold like 400 patterns. I never thought in a million years I'd sell that many patterns to my customers. And they put it in the magazine, and before I knew it, I had a business. But it was just at the start of, like, there weren't any e-commerce sites yet. This was 2005, 2006. Web pages were static web pages, and people just started sending me cash and checks in the mail. I had no idea how to do shipping or how to do anything like that. So that's kind of how it all started. But the reason that my patterns, I think, are a big hit is because of the fit. And the fit is always so important to me.
I am in a
And
Facebook
so
Live. I have
what I
a lady
do is
on.
package
I
all of that
can't
into the
hear her.
patterns. And that's the
Everybody can
most
hear
important
her and
thing.
me. What? I'm on my black magic. What do I do?
Do you have a headphones plugged in or something?
No, no.
I don't know
I
whether to keep
have
talking
have
because I
the
don't want to talk over.
let me just hit FaceTime so you can see my thing.
I don't know if she realizes we
You
can
see it?
hear.
What is it looking like?
But anyway,
No one can
now
hear
it's been
you.
many years. I've
Right, they
gotten much
can't hear me,
better
but they,
at
no, everybody can hear
pattern
me
fitting,
and
pattern
her. I
drafting,
can't
pattern
hear her.
design.
It's me. I'm the only one that can't
I don't know
hear.
if you guys can hear her too.
I mean, it's your lap. It's not that. It's your laptop.
What would be on my laptop I gotta do?
Is your volume on your laptop?
Where the hell is that? It is. It's all the way up.
What, now,
I'm
let me see
talking
your
to my
laptop.
son. What,
Can I
Ty?
see your laptop? Do you have anything plugged into it on the sides?
I do, right here.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. Top right.
Where?
Top right.
Over here?
Yep. What is that? What's that little wire?
This?
Yeah.
That's just my plug-in to the plug-in. And this is to the Black Magic.
And then what's the left side?
That is, oh my God, what is that? Oh, I don't know what that is. It's
Plug it back in.
it says connected microphone.
Oh, just plug it back in. You're fine.
I
Okay,
did.
now I can.
Now, so that is, I think, something to do with the microphone type.
But it's not the microphone, it's that. Oh, what? Okay. What is the red? Yeah, what is that plugged into in the back?
Which one? This?
What does it say above it?
On?
Like in the back.
Oh. Mic 1. Oh, should it be in mic 2?
It's on the top left, close up. I just can't see him. On. Mom, I have no idea.
I know. Okay. I just thought
Oh,
I'd
sorry.
check. It's okay.
You've been using it, or have you not used it in a while?
I haven't used it for a while. I just don't get how they can hear me, and they can hear me and her. I just can't hear her.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay.
But have you just gone on the computer and like put your mouse over her to make sure it's not muted?
No. I don't know what you mean by that.
Like, show me the screen. See the little, Are you guys on live right now?
Yes, we are. They're all like staring at you.
Jesus. Oh my God. I'm not eating chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant right now. Half Roast Beef is the best roast beef restaurant in Portsmouth, New
See,
Hampshire.
Ty, what is that right there? Internal connected.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
internal speaker.
What do I do?
Click internal speaker. Click it. Internal speaker. Nope. Click internal speaker. Up.
Oh.
Yep. Now you're good. Tell him to talk.
Can you talk?
I can talk. Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Ty.
Love you.
Aw.
Love you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, well, at least I can hear you now. Oh my gosh. Guys, please. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. So I didn't even hear any of all that, but that's okay. Did you tell them about what did you talk about?
I just started talking about how I got started with it. And then I couldn't talk and listen to you at the same time because
I know.
my brain doesn't work that way.
I don't blame you. I mean, this is like oh my gosh, I am so sorry.
Well,
I'm so
if it
sorry.
makes you feel any better, I have been videotaping a new instructional video for my newest pattern, and I have an editor that I work with, and I couldn't get my sound to work when I was doing the voiceover. He had to actually get into my computer and figure it out. I don't know.
Okay, good.
So take a breath, stop sweating. I know the feeling.
Well, thank you, and all my listeners here, thank you for being patient. And so all of you that are on, oh my God. Okay, if anybody has any questions for Pamela, please, write them in. I have some questions that I'm going to ask her. And like I said, I was saying, I'm surprised Alice isn't, unless maybe she is. She is just a lover of your patterns. I mean, she loves them. This is a class so for those of you that may be tuning in and that are on, this is
the tank top.
Yes, the tank top. And you know what I hear? So this class, guys that are on this one, she's doing, and we're starting right off with 2 classes because they fill right up. It's going to be, one of them is on July 31st, and then the next one will be the next day, either August 1st. So it's one or the other.
That's actually one of my very, very favorite patterns. It's not a bestseller because I think people look at, oh, tank top, I can't have my arms showing, blah, 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 tank tops aren't flattering on me. So what I call this is a tank top for women. And the reason that I call it that is because it covers all the parts that people usually want to be covered. Number one, it covers your bra. So basically,
Yes.
It comes up here so that it covers your entire bra here. You have options of making the straps however wide you need them to be to cover your particular bra strap. It also comes way over here, so none of that like fluffy stuff hangs out. And so it really works well. I actually wear that tank top under sweaters, under under cardigans. I wear it just as a base layer during the winter. It's something, I think I have to make a new black, white, and off-white one pretty much every year or two because I wear them out.
Well, they, like you said, they make great layers.
They do. And people have made them into dresses and worn them to weddings. A mother of the bride did one. I mean, it's just, that all, of course, has to do with the fabric. You pick a simple pattern in a beautiful fabric, and it's just amazing, how you can elevate just a very simple pattern. I'd have to say that I've lost count of how many people have made the classic t-shirt dress into a mother of the bride dress and just used a beautiful knit or a stretch lace. I've lost count. It's amazing. It makes me feel really happy.
It should. I mean, it must make you feel, so proud to, have people, not only talk about the pattern, but then walk around and wearing your stuff that you've made. And I think the one thing that I know I see and I like about your patterns is you have different variations of them, like you just said. You can make them so that the straps are wider. What about, let's talk about, this one right here. I knew I grabbed it. I'm like, it's probably sitting in my car knowing my luck. But the secret sleeves, let's talk about that, because that's really cool.
So I saw this company that made ready-to-wear sleeve things that were similar to this. And so I ordered one, and it was, I think, about $50. And it was, it seemed kind of expensive for what it was. However, it was a completely woman-owned, United States-based company, and they were doing all the manufacturing in the United States. So I totally got it then. And I was not sad at all to spend that money. But when I looked at it, I thought, my gosh, it takes just a little bit of fabric. It doesn't take that much. And we all have these little scraps left over, like you've got that random 3/4 to 1 yard piece left over, or maybe you've got like a piece of that left over or something. And I thought it would be a great way to be able to use up your scraps. And I also have a lot of sleeveless dresses that I don't wear that often. I have great intentions of wearing a sleeveless dress. I mean, I don't like my arms any more than anybody else, but I don't really care. At this age, I don't care.
Right.
I'm going to wear them. However, I was never comfortable because you end up in air conditioning and then I'm freezing. And so kind of my goal when I first got that was I wanted to make a this garment to make it to match each one of my sleeveless dresses so that I could wear them with sleeves as well as sleeveless. Honestly, I just wear them with the sleeves now mostly. And then I decided people were freaking out about it, so I decided to make a pattern from it. And one of the things that I think is really interesting that has come from this is that I did not know this until about 6 months ago, but I was teaching, I think I was teaching out in Portland, Oregon, and this woman was in my class and she was part of a theater company. And she said, I just love your secret sleeves. We use it all the time in the theater. And I was like, oh, that would make so much sense. And she goes, no, I don't think you understand. We all use it in the theater all over the country. We use this. This is like viral in the theater business. Everybody
Oh,
uses your pattern. And I was like, I had no idea. That was just so
that
much
is so
fun, So I was really happy to hear that. And I know that that doesn't sell many patterns, and that's not what it's all about because, they buy one pattern and then they use it for, whatever they need to do. So it doesn't mean that it's a boost in my pattern sales or anything, but just the fact that I wasn't intending it for that. It was so neat to hear that people really were using it I love theater. I love it. So that made me really happy. Now, every time I go to the theater, I'm looking to see if anybody has them on.
see if they have them.
And
I just
there
think
is a
it's
full-length tutorial that comes with the pattern that will take you through every single step. And honestly, once you do one of them, you can do them in about 45 minutes.
wow. Well, I know Alice has this. See, the thing with Alice, because she's busy like everybody, it's making the samples and getting them
Yeah.
ready. And, we're like, come on, Alice, she just went on vacation. And I'm like, this is what she did. She did this on vacation. She
Oh,
did this
I want to
on
meet
vacation.
Alice. I don't know if I've ever met her before, but I want to meet her.
Well, she loves you. I know that. She's the one that brought your patterns in. She's like, you got to
Yes.
look at these. So yeah, definitely. So and I might have missed this earlier and I apologize, but when did you start making patterns? Like
I did
when did
I
your
did talk
company?
about that before, so I won't repeat all of that, but I was saying that I started making patterns in 2005. They kind of, before the word viral was a thing. They were put in Threads magazine. I started getting sent orders. I didn't even know that I would have a company. I was a very busy store manager for Manchester Sewing Center in Connecticut, and then moved to Steve Sewing in outside of Philadelphia in King of Prussia, and did all of their education and teaching. And the patterns were just a big help for me because I could teach something in a shorter amount of time because I am a nut about fitting, and that's my specialty. And I wasn't going to be happy if things didn't fit. So, what kind of what gave me the confidence to actually start designing a pattern was the fact that I went out to the 𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗃 company in Oregon back in 1998. And I'd been reading their books and using their techniques since probably in high school, like in the 70s. I think my mom and I both had some of the books. And so finally in 1998, I got to go visit and take a class there. And it was like, for me, because I'd been teaching fit and I've been teaching sewing for so long, when I saw this method of fitting and how much sense it made and how there was an order and how it was teachable, because that was always the problem for me. I could fit people, but I didn't know how to teach them in a clear way. I would say, oh, just come to my classes and it'll rub off, and I'll give you the basics. But now with this method, I had this very clear way of teaching and empowering people to fit any pattern they want and make that work. So for me, that trip was like light bulbs and fireworks and, God moments. And oh my gosh, I was so excited. and just kind of ran with it. As I started teaching fit, I started to notice that there were very common things that my customers had to do to their patterns to make them fit better. Things like a little forward shoulder, just little things that would make such a big difference. A little sway back, a little roundness to the back, more room in the waist and the hip and the tummy, another front that had a full bust adjustment so people didn't have to freak out because they would have to do a full bust adjustment. Things like the bigger arm, width, things that my customers really needed to have. And that's what gave me the confidence to then make my patterns and put all of those things into the pattern. Now, that doesn't mean that you might not have to do more of one of these things, but it gets it much closer to what you need to do. And that's really what started the whole idea that, yes, I could make a pattern that's better than at that time in 2006, there were not that many independent pattern companies. And so back then it was like, I can definitely do a more realistic fit than the big four pattern companies that really cater to a slender 14-year-old figure, even if that figure was larger. So if you think about a slender 14-year-old with a small bust, even as those patterns get bigger, it's that just bigger. That's not what happens when most women get bigger. All the other, and also as we get older, and I'm talking about like starting, at 40-ish, you start to notice changes in your body. And that's what I wanted to encompass. Now, of course, now we've got lots of independent pattern companies and people can, a designer can decide to make their patterns in however they want. But back then it was a pretty unique concept, to do. Plus, I think I was one of the very first educators to put some sewing tips on YouTube.
Cool.
Which is kind of interesting, My first
Yeah.
first time I filmed it, I had this little teeny camera. It was called a flip video camera, and you plugged it into your computer and it would download. It was so funny. And back then you could only have a YouTube video that was less than 10 minutes long, so I would make them in segments.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Now, do you still have those up on YouTube? Are they still?
Yeah, like some of them I've combined, and some of them I just haven't gotten to yet, so they still are in little segments, which is kind of funny. So yes, they still are on the YouTube channel. I don't think I've taken much off of there, It's funny
That's
to go
cool.
back and see.
It's memories. I mean,
Yeah,
and look how far you've come, from there.
yeah.
I am generally a bag maker. I call myself a bag maker. I make bags. That's what I
Right.
do. Since owning the store, excuse me, because I'm a new owner, it'll be 3 years in October.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'm in the diner business. So I wasn't looking to, I mean, I've sewed for 10, 12 years and have a great passion for it. But it wasn't like I was out looking to buy a store, because I bought it right in the beginning of COVID, right in the middle of it, really,
Oh my gosh.
So, and I'm just having so much fun. Like I
It is
can't
fun.
even tell you. I'm just having so much fun. But garment making for me has it's always been something that I've always tried to do. I say tried. But after a few times of making some, just some basic, dresses, like easy dress. What am I trying to say? Like a t-shirt dress or something like that. And it not fitting me, I mean, extra large, 14, 16, but when you cut the pattern,
No.
I can't put it on. And then of course, I don't know enough. I was using cotton when I should have used a knit.
Aha, that will make a difference.
Right? Like I couldn't even put it up over my head.
Yes.
So I've come a long way, but well, not much. But Alice gave me a couple of pointers with fitting and stuff, because I believe Alice did that same course that you did. that you just talked about
Oh,
before.
Palmer Pletch.
Palmer, yes, yes.
Yeah, so right now we have four oh, I think we're down to 3 locations. Yes. So I am a Palmer Pletch location here in Connecticut. I became their very first offsite location, and I had 2 locations. I had one in Connecticut and one in King of Prussia at Steve's Sewing up until last November, and now I've moved all of my work into my Connecticut studio. And then there's also Portland, Oregon, and oh, there's 4. There's Seattle, Washington, and Richland, Michigan. So I am one of the company locations, and it's so much fun. We have I teach 4 to 6 day sewing workshops in fit and pant and knits, and now I've added jeans and open sews as well. So if you're ever looking for a really fun sewing vacation, and then also I do teacher training. So if even if you want to be a teacher, like it's great. But even if you don't want to be a teacher, the teacher training is wonderful because it really kind of lets you know what you need to learn in order to be better at fitting. So everything that I do revolves around getting a good fit and then also doing really nice construction techniques. So
Wow. See, I just find this so fascinating because another, thing that I don't have a serger. So when I make, I know, I don't
she's
have
a
a serger,
serger virgin. We need to change that.
right? I mean, and I own a sewing store and I sell them. So you'd think that,
Yes.
I keep saying at the beginning of the year, this is the second year in a row now, I've said, okay, my thing this year, I need to learn the serger. And then, whatever, this happens, that happens. And, so when I do my garments, of course, I'm just doing it looks ridiculous, really. And Alice will point it out to me too, which is so funny. So,
Sergers will change your life, your sewing life for sure. They are amazing machines. I started selling them in the mid 80s and admittedly did not understand sergers very well, and what I could do with them. And as I started teaching more and more classes, I found more and more ways of using a serger that would make it so much easier, teaching people how to set tensions and do things on their serger that they never thought they could do before. And I'm not talking about fancy things. I'm talking about even just basic things like sewing or serging inside and outside curves and inside and outside corners and doing secured seams and things like that. So I definitely developed a reputation for being really good at the serger and being able to teach it well. And that's how I started at Threads Magazine. So with Threads Magazine, I have done numerous, oh my gosh, more articles on serging than I could ever count. I've done books and I have e-learning classes on the serger. I offer serger workshops around the country. I do them online. It's like I love the serger. I just think that it really adds to everything that you do in your garment sewing. It makes a huge difference. Now, you're making bags, and admittedly, you don't need to use the serger very much for bags, but when you start making garments, and I understand why you don't have time. You're running a store. That's that is no easy feat. I was, like I said, I was a store manager for 25 years. Like I know what it takes. There's so many things to do. And but yeah, it'll really change your life. And I was just I forgot to look to see what brands of sewing machines and sergers you carry.
we sell Baby Lock, Brother, and Juki.
So the Baby Lock serger is the best serger on earth. And so if any of you out there do not have a good serger, one that you feel works well, one that well, let's put it this way. If you hesitate to use your serger because it makes you nervous to thread it, or you might not get the tensions right, you just run right over to that store and you buy a baby lock serger because
Thank you. Yes.
it will just change everything about what you do. The baby locks are so smooth and wonderful and just do an amazing stitch, and the ease of them with the automatic tensions, the automatic threading can't be beat.
Right.
So yes,
Exactly.
run, don't walk
Exactly.
to Angels. What is it? Angels Sewing Center, right?
Angel sewing and quilting. Yeah.
Angels Sewing and Quilting. Run right over there and get one.
So, all right. So where do people find you? Like you said now, so you have ongoing, so at do you have a store? Like, is it a brick and mortar store or
So
is it you said studio? So
I call it a studio because it's not really open to the public like your store would be. I don't have store hours. But it is open to people to come for classes that are already you know, planned and so forth. Now, if somebody wants to stop by, like I'm not that far from you, and so if you want, anybody wanted to stop by and they weren't coming for a class, all you need to do is call me or email and we'll set up a time for you to come and shop. So my studio here acts as it is a classroom, and it's where I teach a lot of my classes. I've been working really hard since COVID to not travel as much. I'm a national instructor, so I travel all over the country doing classes for stores and sewing guilds and special events. And a few shows a year. I don't do a lot of shows, but I do a few sewing shows as well. And I really would like to not travel quite as much. I don't want to give it up entirely, but so I've been utilizing my studio a lot more since, the whole shutdown and everything, which forced us all to do that kind of thing. So my studio has many facets to it. First of all, it is a classroom where I can teach. It's small. I don't have big classes, so you get lots of individual attention because the class sizes are small. It also is the shipping and receiving and warehouse for my online store, 𝗶𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃s.com, where I sell a curated line of sewing notions and sewing tools, many of which I design myself. So I've always guessed I've designed a few different things and manufactured a few different notions here and there, but I find that I haven't been doing as many patterns and I've been doing more product production. So I've got several ironing tools and rulers and like tracing products and scissors and things that I have manufactured to my specifications. Almost all of them are manufactured by woman-based companies in the United States. My one exception is my scissor maker is in Pakistan. It's a small family company in Pakistan, and they're just lovely to work with. But so that's where so this is where I will house and do all the shipping and receiving for my pattern line and product line. And then also I have I call it the market room. It's actually where you can shop. So I have a curated line of fabrics as well, all fashion fabrics. So for garment sewing, lots of knits, all things like what people come to me for. So pant fabrics and knit fabrics and silky fabrics and things that you don't find in stores. You find quilt stores these days, but you
right.
don't find a store where you can actually go touch and feel your fabric. So it's not a huge selection, but I think it's rather nice. Of course, I would think that. I pick them all out myself. I don't do my fabrics online, but especially during COVID, people would call me and I would either Zoom or FaceTime with them and show them what I have, and they would order fabrics, which I am more than happy to do. Then the other part of this is, well, the warehousing. So when you have patterns, you have to print 1,000 patterns at a time. So down in my warehouse, there's probably about 20,000 patterns, give or take at any time, plus all of the other, things that we sell. And then during COVID, I did something I never thought I would do, and that is start doing virtual classes. When it first happened, all of my younger friends who are independent pattern designers, which I'm like the old lady of them all, and so you got all these wonderful young people that are just doing amazing things.
Isn't
They
it
were
great?
immediately online teaching, and I wanted to just like curl in a ball and die because I didn't know how to do that. I thought it would be a horrible experience. I was afraid and intimidated. I had to work into it gradually, but by September of 2020, I was teaching virtually with like 2 iPads and a computer. And then I eventually took over another room in my studio, and now I have a recording studio with 6 cameras, lights, microphones, like now I can, switch from camera to camera like nothing and,
Okay.
do all this stuff. So, yeah, so I can teach a virtual class easily. Now I can record my own videos. Um, and I really like it. I knew I was in trouble when I I was talking with somebody who did this, not in the sewing field, but they were doing something with multiple cameras and stuff, and I had a big long conversation with them about what they use and how they set it up, and they showed me their whole setup and everything. And I went on Amazon and just started ordering all this stuff, cameras and stands and lights and microphones and all this cords. And when it came in, I was literally shaking with excitement to set it up. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm becoming that. I can't believe it. And I've been so pleasantly surprised. Within the first year, I think I had taught over 15,000 people online. And and I mean, you got to understand, like some of these classes that I was teaching, like for the Sewing and Stitchery Expo out in Puyallup, Washington, I would have 500 people in a class. So that's a big chunk.
Wow.
And then I would have classes that were, 8 people. I'd have a private class, I would do whatever. And so it was just amazing. And I stopped counting after the first year how many people, but I was pleasantly surprised at how wonderful it's been and how many connections I've made, how many people who took my virtual classes then end up coming to a Palmer Pledge course or one of my courses that I teach here, or I run into them at a store I'm teaching at, or at a show, or at an event, or whatever. And so what I thought would not be a community kind of thing ended up, of course, being that. And now it's a very integral part of what I do. I still, of course, love teaching in person, probably the most, but I love the virtual as well.
That's great. So you're a pro at this. You probably at the
Well,
beginning of this were like, what is she doing?
no. I've been there before. I will tell you a funny story. I'm sure it will make you feel better. It was before I had the full setup, and I think I was using my phone, an iPad, and the computer. And so I was getting the phone into the stand, and the stand clamp hit
Yeah.
the SOS, and it called
Oh,
the police. And it was 3 minutes before I was going to go live. And so I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? They're gonna show up with fire trucks and police officers. So I call the police department, and I'm in a panic because I'm also worried about teaching virtually because it's one of my first times. And I said, this is Pamela. I have a sewing studio. My phone accidentally SOS'd and called 911. Please do not send police cars and fire trucks. I'm ready to go live. This is not a code. This is not that code that says I'm in trouble. I really don't want you to come. And I was in this panic. And finally, the dispatcher was like, ma'am, settle down. We're not coming.
That's great. I love that. Okay, good. That does make me feel better. You know, I can't wait to come down and see your studio. So let people know, and for those of you, because there's been some people coming on and off, I can see them going back and forth. I just, so if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with Pamela from Pamela's Patterns. You can check her out at pamelaspatterns.com. Now, is that where, where we can find, tell us where we can find like your list of classes you teach?
So I am woefully behind on posting classes. I used to be really good at putting on my website every place where I was going to be, and that's when I was traveling most of the time. But what has happened is that since I've been teaching here, my classes fill before I can ever advertise them. Kind of like what you're saying, the classes are filling up fast and all of that. So here's a couple of things that you can do is number one, you can check the Palmer Pledge website, palmerpledge.com, and that is going to list, that's where you would actually register for one of my Palmer Pledge courses, and it's done all through them. I don't have my 2024 schedule up yet, but I will have soon. Then there is also on the bottom of the website pages, there's a place that you can sign up for my email list. And again, I do not inundate you with emails. In fact, I'm not especially great at sending out mass emails, but I will send them out when there are new products, new patterns, new classes where there's, room for them. Now, since maybe some of your people are more local, which what I call local is somebody who's willing to, drive in, maybe stay overnight.
Yeah.
So somebody like I have people that come from all over the world to come to classes, but my kind of local group is what I call it are people that are just willing to come. What part of you're in New Hampshire, right?
We're in New Hampshire. Yeah, in Manchester. We're an hour north of Boston.
Right. So it's not that far from here.
Right.
Like just this morning, I had somebody that came from the Albany area of New York, and it was a 4-hour drive. She stayed overnight last night, took the class today, went home tonight. So there's something like that. What I offer is like 1-day classes or multiple day classes where you could sign up for 1 day or more. And those are usually like open sew classes. So whatever you would want to work on, you want help with fitting. I mean, nobody's going to come to me to do a quilt or a bag. But so people who are coming to my classes want to know how to sew with knits, how to fit patterns, how to do both, how to do tailoring, how to do alterations, how to use their serger, all of these different things. So I offer those, and I have a local email list for that. So if you're at all interested or even think you might be, send me an email. You can send it through my website, or my email is pamela@pamelaspatterns.com, but you can go right to my website and get to it. And then just say, put me on your local list. And then you will get a word of, I have classes right now that I still have some openings in. And then I will get better at just putting everything on there, but I hate putting stuff up there and then it's full, would let people know what's available and what to look for in the future. But get on the regular email list on the website, email me and ask to be put on the local list. I would love to have you come. Or like I said, if you're just traveling through and want to stop in and see what it's like or whatever, because I am right off of 84. And that is like the Boston coming down to Connecticut. And I'm right off the exit. So it's really easy to get to.
Well, I definitely see a trip in my future.
I hope so.
I'm all about, traveling and going and do classes. And, I took one of my girls out to Billings to get 𝗤𝗂𝗄𝗃 certified. to
Oh,
be a, we're
nice.
a Heine teacher. So I mean, I'm
Yes.
all about that. So yes, I'm gonna email you. Make sure you put me on the list. And
Okay.
yeah, that would be so fun because I'd love to be able to learn, more about. I'm interested too in the jeans one, maybe.
Oh, I am so
But
excited about this pattern. I cannot even tell you. It took me almost 2 years to do the pattern simply because I it's not like I worked on it all the time for 2 years. I it was one of those things that evolved. I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go with it, but what I ended up with, I am so excited for because you've got it's extended sizing. I mean, it is very size inclusive. There is a slim version, there is a relaxed version, and so that means that the sizing is even more extensive because you have so many different styles and shapes. You can take this basic pattern, you can make it high-waisted, low-waisted, to the waist. You can make it straight leg, skinny leg, wide leg, flare leg, whatever you want. And
wow.
the way that I did this pattern, the fit is amazing, by the way. The way I did this pattern is that there is a complete video, there is a 12-page instruction sheet or booklet, and I feel that the way that I did it all, that an advanced beginner could make these jeans and have them turn out beautiful. I really tried to put so much detail so making jeans would be within anybody's realm. Now, is it a fast project? No, it's not at all, but it's very satisfying and it's very detail oriented. Um, and I love all the details. There's top stitching and these cool buttonholes and neat tack buttons and bar tacks and there's just so much to it that it's really fun. Plus you end up with great jeans, and jeans is really just a style. So you can make jeans from corduroy. It's a jeans style with the yoke, the pockets, the fly front zipper. You can make them from corduroy or wool or linen or you know there's so many different things. It's just a style, and I really like it. And if you take one of my jeans classes or you come to one of the open sews to make them, I have all the samples all made up. And so the fitting is so easy because you put on the jeans, I can tell you exactly what you need to do your pattern, and we can fix your pattern up and get you sewing in no time, which is a lot of fun. So yeah.
So a jeans class, how many days would that be? Like what?
So the jeans class would be a minimum of 3.5 days to finish. 4 days is even better because then it can be sort of relaxed. One of my friends, she is a young instructor. Her name is Lauren Taylor. Some of you might know her. She's very popular and one of the coolest chicks I've ever met in my life. Um, she teaches jeans in 2 days. Now, when I tell you, you are not allowed to fit, you're not allowed to rip, you're not allowed, if your stitching is crooked, that's too bad. And she gets you through the process of jeans making so that you understand the whole process of it. But it's not meant to be like the perfect fit or even the perfect sewing. It's just a way of teaching you how to do it in a class. And I appreciate what she does because, for some people, that's a great way to learn. And for other people, they want to be able to take their time. They want to be able to, make sure everything is just right and get their stitches just right and the fit just right. That's what I offer. So, yeah.
I mean, how many times do you, go shopping and, especially a pair of jeans or a pair of pants or, and you put them on and they're either too big here and then too tight there, so I think getting the right fit I mean, like, I'm so intrigued by garment making. I just, and we've been starting at the store, getting in, different knits and, whatever all those different kinds of garment materials are. We've been
That's
looking
great.
that up. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, I mean, nothing like what you have, but we
Oh,
do
you
have
never
a
know.
little bit
I
of a
mean, if
better.
people like it, that's what's important. Important thing is to get fabrics in there that are good quality, that
Right.
people will like sewing on, and that it fits whatever your clientele is as far as, what kind of clothing they like to wear. I've been intrigued with garment sewing since I was 7.
Wow.
And I've always been a garment sewer and have always just loved it so much. And
Do you have,
it never gets old with me ever.
see, that's how I am with bags,
Yeah.
but yeah. Oh, wow. Do you have a favorite pattern?
Of my own,
Yeah.
it's usually whatever I'm working on. So right now I'd have to say it's the jeans. Um, I
Okay.
have a new pattern coming out the middle of August, and it is a serger and sewing machine adventure. So right now I'm finishing the video up tomorrow. Um, so it will be ready for sale the beginning of August. I'm teaching it at the American Sewing Guild Conference in New York City at the end of this month, and I'm teaching it for the virtual conference, the International Bra Sewing Bee, and it's called the Modern Peignoir Ensemble. So it's like a robe or a topper, and then a nose side seam flowy pant, and so it could be worn and as streetwear, like over jeans and a t-shirt, or as beachy kind of pants, or it could be just a really elevated, uh, you know, thing that you would wear around the house instead of sweats. Why wear sweats when you can, feel really nice in these beautiful, luxurious fabrics or natural fiber fabrics or whatever. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I think in the last month, I've probably made um, probably like at least a dozen or so sets, so that I've got the samples for my video and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I just want to keep making them. The robe or topper is made completely on the serger, and the pants are a combination of sewing and serger. So it becomes a really good serger workshop. And in a class with a big group of people, I can teach it in about 3 hours. And on your own, you could make it in probably an hour and a half. So it's really fun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very
I
cool.
could
Oh
even
my
do that
gosh.
with you, and you've never used one. I could do that.
Well, I have a feeling you're going to be seeing me. I'm excited. I'm excited. Um, wow, this has been so great. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you didn't tell us that you think that we should know about Pamela's patterns? Or
I don't know. I think I covered quite a bit. I'm a person full of stories, and I tell um, I tell how to adjust patterns and do sewing through stories a lot of times. So when I'm a speaker at a conference or for a guild or for a store, a lot of stories come out, because when you've been around as long as I have doing the same kind of thing, there are a lot of stories. So if you get me talking, I will probably start telling stories. So don't get me started. But yeah, I have lots of stories that are just sewing related. Um, and I have so enjoyed doing this business and hope to keep doing it for a while longer. And it's just been just a joy. And of all the things that I do, the teaching is my favorite. And back when I first started as a national instructor, you had to have a product line to be a national instructor, or else people didn't know about you because we didn't have the internet and so forth. So that's why I developed the product line, just to make it so people would want me to come and teach. And that
wow.
was my main goal. Now it's a whole part of my business, but still, I think my favorite thing is teaching. I was just listening to the most recent Threads podcast, and they interviewed 𝗤𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗁, and she said the exact same thing. And I've worked with her at other conferences, and I think she's in Iowa. Yeah, she's in Iowa, and we've worked together before at conferences where we're both teaching other classes, but we would always try and get together and talk and chat. And she was talking about how teaching just fills her up and how much it means to her. And it just, when I listened to the podcast, I just felt so happy because, that's what it makes me feel like too.
I mean, it makes you proud, I mean, somebody's, they grasp what you're trying to teach them. And then, especially for you, your patterns, when you're seeing them walk around in your creation is just,
well, I wish I could say that that's the most, that makes me proud or whatever. I don't think that's so. It's almost like when, and I'm sure you probably see this in your store too, when you get a group of people together who are creative, and I mean, let's face it, sewers are smart and giving and generous and kind people. It just, honestly, in all my years of doing this, it's so rare to have somebody that doesn't fit into all those categories. That's who a sewer is. And so I always feel like when I'm doing this kind of thing, it's kind of like a relationship with a little sewing on the side, even though I know it's a lot of sewing. But
it's
it
true.
still feels more like it's that relationship, and how many things you find out and how many things people share in a sewing class who have never, it just blows my mind every time I have a class and I've got 6 people in the class and they've never met each other, and they come from all parts of the country or the the world, and they have different experiences, and then within, I'm serious, like by lunchtime, they're all talking about their personal stories and their
Yep.
personal insights, and sharing and helping and giving advice, and oh, it's
For sure.
yeah,
I mean, classes, it's sometimes not so much about learning, it's the camaraderie, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's, you're sewing with like-minded people, like
yes,
exactly what you just said. And it is. I mean, I know when I go to work every day, to me, I have about a half-hour drive, and it's like I'm going to Disney every day. I just love it. And the beautiful ladies that I have, working at the store, most of them, it's like they don't have to be there. They want
right.
to be there and they love it. And, it's just all about making the customers happy, and, and they
I
all have
think,
their little niche of teaching, and,
yes.
so.
And I think that is true in every sewing store that I've worked at or taught in, that the people who work there are passionate about
Yep,
what they do.
exactly.
And yeah, it's a lot of them are working there just because they love being around everything.
Being around the
And
fabric,
yeah,
and, I mean, it's just, how can it not be fun? Like, I can't wait to go down to your studio. Oh my gosh. So,
oh,
for
good.
sure.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll have to have you back. We'll have to, do some updates. But like I said, I can see a trip in my future here to go down and learn the serger. And yeah, we'll have to talk and collaborate something or something. So
You could
yeah,
also have me come up to your store and do it,
exactly.
you know?
My April that's in my office. We're gonna have a little chat tomorrow.
Yeah.
So so yes, for
Yes,
sure.
I would love to come up there and do some, something at your store, so you could come
Yep.
too.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. And again, listeners that are listening, check her out, pamelasPatterns.com. She has great patterns. We teach a lot of her garments at Angel Sewing. Again, check out her website as well. And hopefully we'll be seeing you soon.
Oh,
So
thank you so much. And you can, I do now have Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, so you can follow me there as well. I hired a social media person, so I will actually post. And so
perfect.
you can see me there as well.
Perfect. Awesome.
I
Well,
always
Pamela,
forget to
thank
say
you.
that.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
And
you so
again, I
much.
apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning.
No problem.
But I'm glad I thought of calling my son. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to call him. He's gonna help me through this. So thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
Thank you
Well,
for having me.
yes, thank you. All right.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.